Okay, let's talk about Ultrash. I looked at an old guide maybe a couple of months ago that says Ultra Counter was very good. Let's try it with real endgame content. Oh, let's see this. Oh wait, this is weird. I have 1200 HP and what's this? 1560 damage I'm gonna take? Well, how do I shield? Oh, I don't have any shield because I'm not playing blue. Oh, I know. Let's use Wanda, limited unit. A very good unit, I heard. Last year she was great. Oh, this defense card will help a lot. 200? Yeah, what does this card do? Oh, reduces their power by 40. This will help. This will help. Oh, they're only going to do 1300 damage now. Increase their damage by 200 points. Uh, what's this? 55 damage. Let me play that. Oh, Liz. I heard Liz was good. 122 damage? 50% poison? Oh, let me destroy. I will live this turn, right? I played the 1/4 cost Wanda card. No, don't worry. I have a res. It's fine. It's fine. I'm playing Ultra. Ultra's good. I waited a turn now. This Liz card. Corrupted Flames. Let's see. That did damage. Yeah, I can see this going well. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is the Flare series of video on Ultra. Otherwise known as Ultrash. The worst realm you can possibly roll for as a new player in the game. It's been memed to death by both the Chinese community and a community. There are very few Ultra defenders that can't clear endgame, even with money spent, because half of the realm is effectively dead. 90% of these units are D tier or F tier. You're not going to have a good time if you pull Ultra. In fact, if you're a new player and you're watching this video, you can save me and you time. Just stop the video and just pull something else. Just do anything else with your life than play Ultra. Just uninstall the game, watch paint dry. Because that's how useless Ultra as a whole is in its current state. But if you're interested in the memes and to why it's bad, and to the few good units that Ultra have, please continue to watch the video. Now, early game players get baited in thinking Ultra is useful based on the difficulty and based on Liz damage or tank damage early on. They are F tier and D tier mid to late game for a reason. They scale awful. They are dog shit. They give you a false sense of security early game. Every other realm has better standards and no wasted units, unlike Ultra. Now let me pull up my tier list so you can have a brief glance at what I'm talking about. So, this is tier list. Notice how many units Ultra has in D or F tier. Cass, Liz, Tinkt, Erica, Wanda. I'm going to go back to game capture. So, on average, no Ultrash is allowed on your team. On average, if you're pulling Ultra Standard, you're going to get a dud. And as a new player, that's wasting pulls. That is, compared to what other people say, bricking your account. If you pull for any other realm, you will always get a unit you could use endgame or midgame. If you pull Ultra, there's a small chance you might get the 2 units that are good. Everything about Ultra is bad, especially with R2 rules. Pre-R2, a year ago, Ultra was in a better state with pre-nerf Wanda, pre-nerf Daff. However, R2 rule kills Ultra counter. Doesn't exist. Now, let's go over the good units first. Jenkins. Jenkins, with the recent buffs, is the strongest or second strongest Ultra unit in the game. A tier. Great unit. Nothing wrong with Jenkins. Jenkins now does AoE on her 1 cost. She does a shit ton of damage. Great unit. You'll recommend her Sig wheel and another damage wheel. She is used with Horla and a couple other units from other realms, not Ultra. And tons of damage, very easy to play. I don't think there's much to go over with Jenkins. You want her as high E as possible because her Realm Mastery and crit rate stat is very good. And all of her E's are good. E1 is the first breakpoint, and E3 is the second breakpoint because extra brown attack on ult is very useful. Nothing bad to say. She is one of the few good Ultra units that's comparable with normal realms. But again, do not pull Ultra just for her. You will get a rewind item. You rewind a standard unit you're not using from another realm and use selectors to pull Jenkins. So you don't have to get all these trash units. Winkle is the other good standard Ultra unit. Winkle is one of the best alien mist batteries in the game. You pair her with another unit to give them their ult faster. That's her role. Her rouse, not that good. Flat counter, as I went over in my other videos. Her strike, not that good R2 because counter bonus got nerfed hard. Her shields, not that good compared to any other shielder. It does not shield for a lot. Her energy beam, useful. It applies weakness and removes barrier, which is a niche thing. Pretty decent. Her 3 costs, too expensive, does not generate enough shield. Aqua as a whole generates more shield than she does. So if you're going to have to use her, sell her 3 costs, sell everything but her 2 costs and this. You're using her for her ult. That's her only use. But she's very good for her ult in general. A tier along with Jenkins. These two, good. Daffodil, good if you get a lot of copies. B tier because she's a former limited in standard and she got nerfed. You need her E2 at least to make her very usable. E1 is okay, not that great. E2, huge. This is huge. She has some pretty unique mechanics such as her Exalt creating 1,000 Mirage. The reason why she's still B tier is because you have lots of choices of what card this can create, but you don't get to choose all of them, unlike Tawil. You get limited selection, so you can get fucked in general. It's pure RNG. If this wasn't RNG, she would be A tier easily. But since this is RNG, she's strictly B tier. However, her wheel is better than she is. Her wheel, if whaled, is a really, really good wheel, which is Smoking Pipe. Smoking Pipe is a very, very, very good wheel as crit damage, as people who played other games. Like in every game, crit is always good. It's kind of obnoxious, but you know how crit works. You played video games before. This generates a lot of permanent crit damage, and that's good. That's why her wheel is very good on her and on other units. Nothing to write home about. So these 3 units are the only good units in Ultra. And Ultra has how many units? Yeah. It's a pile of dog shit with a few good gems. However, none of the good units are S tier. Every other realm has A tier good units, but they have S tier units. These units are very good. None of them are game breaking. None of them are meta defining. Except for Horla. Horla may be S tier, but she is S tier on my tier list, I think. Yeah, she is. She is very good, supportive character. However, she's not a real Ultra unit. You play her to use her joy effect. She's a joy bot. That's her only role. She has one of the most unique mechanics in the game, which is why she's S tier on most tier units. But you don't use her with Ultra. You use her in mixed realm so she can buff other units. Because Ultra as a general is trash. So she's the best Ultra unit, but you don't use her in Ultra. You use her in Gillette teams, use her in Tawil teams. Because she's the only unit that has permanent buffs. So once you play any of her cards for the first time, you get a permanent buff the entire exploration without having to play her cards. So you can play Joy and sell every one of her cards. Never use her cards again. Joy lets your entire team build more Alien Miss Master, this is bugged. This is like 21% or whatever once you get into battle. And you keep your cards and mana at the end of your turn. You know how like normally you discard your hand after your end turn? If you have Joy on, you keep the cards in your hand, regardless if they have preparation or not. You keep your mana that are unused. So that's why it's super strong. She's the only champion in the game that does this. So you play Joy and nothing else. You can play her other cards, but everyone uses her for this ability. I'm not going to bother going over other cards because it's so niche and very few people even play her other cards. Her Exalt, also very good. So she's good because of these two abilities. It's pretty boring though. You play this card and you're done. But she's very good for that purpose. So she's a passive character like Karen. You play her, you play and forget. So what enlightens do you want her at? Most players run her E0 because they don't want to pull Ultra more than they need to. Because every time you pull on her banner, you can get a trash unit. So, but her enlightens are pretty decent. But again, most players only play her for this. You play this and you're done. If you want to do more, you can get her E3, which up to E3 is very good. But this harms you more than that. Like, you think that this is good, because what I went with Karen, like, all of her cards have retain, which means you cycle for your deck faster. But her cards are semi-expensive, and having 4 retain cards is pretty heavy. And by forcing to play a card, you may lose the Joy buff. So, depending on who you ask, having her E2 might fuck you over. She's like one of the few units where if you get more dupes of her, she might get weaker. So I recommend keeping her at E0 so you don't have to pull Ultra. That Ultra stank on you anymore than you need. And her best team right now is the Aurora team. Aurora from Discord, shout out to him. He plays Horla with Jellet, Thighs, and Aegis. And she exists to buff Jellet and Thighs. She works very well in that team. She's basically an H1B Visa character. You slot her in other teams to help them. She helps other team more than she helps Ultra, because Ultra is a trash realm all around. Yeah, the only S tier unit in the team. Now let's go over the next limited, Clem. Clem is the worst limited unit ever released in the game in over a year. Depending on who you ask, she might be the worst limited unit to ever release in the game's history. And recent too. She tries to do everything, but does nothing. She is completely worthless. Why? Variety of factors. Keep in mind, before her numbers were out, everyone thought she was an A tier unit. Even I thought she was an A tier unit. She scammed all of us. Because while she does everything, she doesn't do everything well. She doesn't do everything average. She does everything in the game, but she does it trash. She's the Bob of all trades. She does damage. She doesn't do enough damage. She heals. She doesn't heal enough. Even this ability, her empathy, which gives stacks, which increase your base damage and whatever, is worse than G-Dot. It's worse than Murphy because of the way it works. It's calculated worse than Murphy's Exalt. It's calculated worse than G-Doll's Exalt. The math is shit. Her heals are shit. This ability, Quasar, it's Quasar and not Leap. So it does not apply in Ultra Realm for strength game. The amount of strength she gains is shit. Her cards are shit. Everything about her is complete dog shit. If you're wasting your limited pulls on her, you're either a whale and you think she's cute, or you're fucking clueless and you just wasted your pulls and might as well reset your account. Nothing she does is good. And on launch, she was even worse. She is the fastest unit to ever get buffed. People noticed she was shit within the first 4 hours. Everyone in the entire game knows she is shit. Okay? I cannot stress you how dog shit this limited is. She's not the worst unit, as she's a limited. There are a couple of Ultra units that are worse than her, which I'll go over. But as a new unit, there's no reason to pull for her. However, her wheel is one of the best wheels in the game. Her wheel is better than she is. I measure relics on my tier list in Clem's because almost every single relic in Arc 2 is worth more than a Clem. Again, numbers shit. Everything is shit. If the numbers are better, she'd be a good unit. Nothing about her kit is bad. Her numbers are just too low. She does everything bad. Now, her stat base is low too. Now, don't pull on her. I'm not even going to recommend her Covenant. I'm not going to even recommend her well. If you have her, fuck off. If you're looking for a guide on how to play Clem, the answer is you don't. You do not play Clem. That's how you play Clem. You do never play Clem, ever. Okay, next. Wanda. The next limited unit. Now, Wanda was A tier or S tier last year. Right now, as you saw, she's probably D or F tier. I only place her in C tier because if you're playing under Arc 1 rules, she's still very good because nothing has changed. However, she got severely nerfed with the Arc 2 rules. Because in Arc 2, which is endgame content, endgame story content, events, you cannot play Wanda well. She will do no damage. She will do nothing. People have wasted money in her. Why does she does nothing? Because in Arc 2 has a unique rule. Let me load up an Arc 2 rule to give you more example. Let me scroll down. These are the Arc 2 rules. Now let's see. Here we go. Counter cannot exceed 500% of max health. Also, counter gains 70% less damage from counter bonuses. See that? That is why she is worthless under Arc 2 rules. Arc 1 rules, she's A tier or S tier. That's why I place her in C. She's fine. She's gonna get buffed. Because right now, she's basically unplayable. As you saw at the beginning of the video, this ability, 44 stacks of counter. This is a flat counter builder. She does not build counter well, unlike Caucus. Caucus, in my Awkward video, builds counter based on the damage she does. This just builds counter. This does not build counter. This has a 20% counter bonus. However, 20% subtracted by 70%. What is this? This is like 5% counter bonus. In practice in Arc 2. This does no damage. Her cards, too expensive. 4 cost, 3 cost. This card that helps her survive, reduce enemies' power by 40. Endgame. This will still be 40. This does not scale well. This will always be 40. Early game. This is great. 40. Give me that 40. Boss only does 100 damage. That's 40% of the boss's damage. That's great. Endgame. As you saw turn 1. Enemies deal 1,500 damage. What's 40 out of 1,500? Dog shit. It is not percent base. If this was a percent base damage decrease, this will be good. Or if it scaled better, this would be good. Otherwise, worthless. This, worthless. Everything about her in Arc 2, worthless. She has no place in Arc 2. Okay, I'm going to go on an even bigger rant. So, let me further encompass how useless this character is in Arc 2. Let me show you how worthless this is. This is a whale Wanda. This is one of the biggest Wanda whales in China. Plus 12 Wanda, plus 12 wheels, plus 12, plus 12. I talked to him in Discord. This guy spent $15,000 on his Wanda comp. This is the most powerful Wanda comp you will ever encounter in the game. This was the old meta Wanda comp. This is story mode, Arc 2, stage 216. He took until turn limit to kill the boss. It took him 15 turns to kill the boss. And in that 15 turns, he only generated 26,000 counter. He only generated 26,000 counter. Again, I'm not saying you have to spend money to clear content in the game, but he spent $15,000 and he barely cleared story mode Art 2. You can play as a new free-to-play player rushing the story within 2 weeks and have a stronger comp than this guy. This guy, in order to clear hard mode with Wanda, because he loved Wanda, he pulled 16 dupes of her. He pulled 16 dupes of her wheel. He spent like 5,000 pulls getting this comp together. He had to replace the knot with G-Doll in the end. This is another team. Look at this. He built 2,000 counter. It's been 3 turns. She does not build counter well. After spending all of his resources and replacing Nautilus and wailing out his Horla, he spent an additional $5,000 to get a G-Doll, to get a Horla. Plus 12. To clear hard mode, it took him 10 turns. And he did more poison damage than counter damage. His only source of poison was G-Doll. He has 2 sources of counter. That's how bad counter Ultra is right now in the current state. Now, do you think that if you spent $15,000 on a limited unit, you should be able to barely clear story mode content? That's how dog shit Ultra is. And this was half of the realm was Wanda. Do not pull Ultra. Please, do yourself a favor. You can handle Arc 1 just fine, which is chapters 1 through 9. But once you hit Arc 2, you would have a better luck placing a gun to your head and killing yourself. So you go to the afterlife and ask Jesus to buff Wanda than to play Wanda itself. Okay? Worthless. Arc 2. Now, next halfway decent unit, Cassia. Cassia has some use. That's why she's only D tier. She's not all bad. She's only bad because she's an Ultra. Her cards, great. This card, State and Symptom cards from your hand, great. Telekinesis pull a thing from Ultra Realm, great. However, she needs severe buffs. She's pretty bad. Why? Temporary power. Any champion right now with temporary power is inherently weak with the way the game has developed. Temporary power early game is great because you don't have these insane scaling late game. However, temporary power does not age well the longer you play the game. Because endgame, you'll be dealing with hundreds to thousands of power. Having temporary power and the longer the game goes is basically worthless. If you convert this to permanent power, it'll be good. And since she's the one to start a unit, she has aged terribly with the temporary power. Everything about her is really mid D tier. But again, if you buff her temporary power, she'd be a good C or B tier unit. But as a current, she's pretty bad. But she's not as bad as the other units I'll be going into. Plus, she has some fans. She's a very cute character. She has some nice lore. You can use her. She's not all bad, you know. We have Cassia main here. Cassia's hat. And he's not standing behind me with a gun to my head, telling me to place her in D tier, not F tier. That is not the reason why I place her in D tier, not F tier. I promise. Next unit, we're going to the bad units. I'm going to go into a complete dogshit unit that baits so many players. Liz. F tier unit. Every new player that plays Liz will think my guide is wrong. That thinks China is wrong. That thinks everyone is wrong about Liz. that thinks, oh, I'm clearing content just fine with Liz. I'm wrecking face. Chapters 1 through 5 are the fucking tutorial stages. She does not do well mid to late game. Why? She has insane scaling early game on her cards. She's like one of the units with very good early game base scaling. Late game, she becomes a liability more than an asset. Why? Temporary power. Discard card. And her damage cards scale badly, and it fills up your hand. This card fills up your hand, and you want your hand to be relatively free. And it's not really even a good retain. So she will do shit damage, and she scales terribly mid-game. Please listen to me. Do not be fooled by Liz. Every player gets fooled by Liz early game. They waste their units. In the month of April alone, we have 3 Liz players in the Discord quit the game because once they hit chapter 6 and they invest in Liz, overinvest in Liz, 7 copies of Liz, they keep pulling Ultra, they keep getting Liz comp. They hit a wall in the game and they quit. Because even if they can re-roll another realm just fine, they will feel like they wasted too many resources on Ultra, too many resources in Liz, and they just quit the game. Please listen to me when I say do not pull Ultra, pull Blue, then branch out. Do not pull Ultra, pull Blue, branch out. For the love of God, do not pull Ultra. If you pull Ultra, I've done everything I can for you after listening to this video. Do not pull Ultra. Do not get baited by Liz. Do not get baited. If you want to enjoy the game, pull Blue. If you get bored with Blue, you can pull Ultra, but get a good Blue core first. So when you do hit a wall, you can switch off from Ultra back to Blue and continue clearing content and not feel like you got walled. Not feel like you wasted your resources. Okay? Please listen to me. I'm begging you, do not get baited by Liz. That's why I think she's the worst unit, because she baits so many players. Do not pull Ultra, for the love of God. Next up, Tanked, also F tier. Also baits players, but not as much. However, the reason why she's bad is the same as Liz. She scales horribly into late game. See this? She's a strike unit. As I went over in my Caro video, strike has no place in endgame because strike cards are inherently weak and have piss poor scaling. There are very few strike comps, and with Arc 2 rules, strike is just a wasted card you can be playing other better cards in. Her shields, too low endgame. This, too low. Her numbers, way too low, and she's a strike carry. Now, if a good strike unit ever comes out, sure. But her stacks, for being a strike unit, dog shit. See? Low attack, low con, low defense. Stat line, dog shit. She's made of paper. And in case you didn't watch my other video and you're misled and you went to the Ultra video first, this is her stat line. Seems reasonable, because you haven't seen a real unit. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, but look at Tulu's, level 60 as well. Oh, let's go back. Let's go back to Tanked. Oh, yeah. Her stat line is dog shit as well. Nothing is wrong with her besides the strike, as this card is very useful, but it's too niche. Too few bosses inflict fragile, weakness, and vulnerable on you that you need to dispel it. And Caucus and other units does it better. So you're not going to have a lot of use for this in general. This card is too expensive and too niche. Next turn grants like piss poor shields and crit rate. Again, too niche. She's just a bad unit because of her numbers. I think if they rework this card and her strike mechanic into something else, this card will be useful because crit is needed and they made this cheaper. But in the current state of the game, she does not have a place in endgame in the current state. Sorry to say. Also, this for 5 random cards, arithmetical cost -1, completely worthless endgame. So yeah, F tier unit, not as bad as Liz, because Liz baits new players in playing Ultra. Liz is like the fucking devil, dude. Next up, Erica, welfare unit. Out of the 3 welfare units, she's the worst. However, after a year of playing the game, you'll have her plus 15 if you keep buying dupes from the shop. She'll be usable in D-Riff or a D-Tide. After a year and a half of playing the game, she will be usable, but she's the weakest of the welfare units. Why? Temporary alert, temporary power, strike unit. That's why every other unit. But once you get her plus 12, you will use her endgame. She will jump up to like B tier at best once you get after a year playing the game. But again, new players will never use her, generally. So that concludes why Ultra is trash. And I'm doing a message. Once again, do not play Ultra. Do not pull Ultra. Do not look at Ultra. If you need to play Ultra, play the one super good unit, Jenkins. I play Jenkins. I love Jenkins. Jenkins is great. Jenkins is the only redeemable factor of Ultra besides Winkle. Jenkins is amazing. Jenkins is God. Jenkins will outdamage most Awakers from every other realm standard. She does so much damage. She does AoE. She does everything. Jenkins is great. Jenkins is great. She does not save Ultra. Just because she's good, do not mean you have to subject yourself to hitting these F-tier trash units that infested Ultra Realm. Everything else infested. Jenkins, great. I love me some Jenkins. You play Jenkins with other realms. You kidnap Jenkins. I love Jenkins in lore. Jenkins in lore. Jenkins is a character. Jenkins is a unit. Gameplay is super fun. Jenkins cannot carry Ultra by herself. Again, look at the realm mechanics. Look at the shields. Aqua provides better shields. Caro has S tier units. Ultra does not have S tier limits. Chaos has S tier units. More flexible. What the fuck are you going to mix Ultra with? It gets nerfed when you mix it with any other realm. Do not pull Ultra. For love of God, do not pull Ultra. If you pull Ultra and you get stuck in the game and you've seen this video, I will not help you. I will laugh. I have warned you numerous times. Every player, do not pull Ultra for the last fucking time. Do not pull this dog shit realm.